Chapter 937. Pang Yuan tried to stay calm and tried to distract her. She had been kidnapped for so long. Those people should have noticed that her carriage had not followed them, right? As long as they could find this place, she would be safe. She thought that she was smart, but it was not worth mentioning in the eyes of this woman. Don't worry. Ordinary people won't be able to find this place. Since I was able to kidnap you, I'm confident that I can kill you here. As for who you have offended, she smiled, isn't your heart as clear as a mirror? Yes, Pang Yuan knew. The women she had tortured were either dead or disabled. None of them had come to take revenge on her. Only Shen Yueji. She thought that she had seen through Shen Yueji. She didn't expect that there was a force behind her. Moreover, this woman seemed to have a master behind her. She alone was able to capture her in the carriage of the royal family without batting an eyelid. Who knew how powerful the power behind her was? Mao Ran thought of an organization in the North Underworld. Xianming sect. As soon as this answer appeared in her mind, she looked up and confirmed. You are from the Xianming sect? Yes, you are not too stupid. At least you know who wants to kill you. Pang Yuan retreated in fear. There were not many things in this world that she was afraid of, but the Xianming sect was definitely one of them. It was an evil sect that she couldn't win over even if she wanted to. You, Imperial concubine Pang boasted that she had many talented people behind her. Don't you know the relationship between our Holy Virgin and Miss Shen? And you, not only did you not respect Miss Shen, you even tried to frame her again and again. She smiled. Imperial concubine Pang really doesn't know what's good for you. She knew that the Xianming sect was an evil sect that was not afraid of any force or imperial power. Her identity as an imperial concubine of the North Underworld was not worth mentioning in her eyes. Even if she was the Empress Dowager, they wouldn't take her seriously, let alone an imperial concubine. Because the power of the Xianming sect was comparable to that of the royal family. All this while, they had always minded their own business and lived in harmony with each other. Neither of them took the initiative to provoke the other. But Pang Yuan didn't expect, things would turn out like this. I don't know, she didn't know that Shen Yueji was related to the Xianming sect. Although she had heard some rumors, she didn't take them to heart. She thought they were just rumors. After all, there was a huge disparity between the Xianming sect and the Feng nation. Moreover, the Xianming sect belonged to the North Sea. How could they be related to a woman from the Feng nation? Now, the doubts in his heart had been confirmed. It was indeed true. Pang Yuan was truly afraid of the Xianming sect because she had witnessed their cruel methods. She had also heard about their methods of torturing people and making them wish they were dead. Xiuer's death was just an appetizer for them. Pang Yuan kept shaking her head. No, I don't know. I really don't know. If I had known that Shen Yueji and your saintess were friends, I wouldn't have treated her like this. She did not want to become enemies with the Xianming sect. Even though she hated Shen Yueji to death, she had never thought of becoming enemies with the Xianming sect. To her, becoming enemies with the mystic dark sect was clearly courting death. Even if she hoped that Shen Yueji would die, she would also read the latest chapter of Exploding Cute Pet Concubine, the Prince Regent, messing with the Body Claw book house for free. Chapter 938. When the troops were about to enter the imperial city, they found that Pang Yuan's carriage had not followed them. And the concubine in the carriage behind Pang Yuan didn't tell Cin and the others for a long time after knowing that Pang Yuan's carriage was missing. When they were told that Pang Yuan hadn't returned to the capital, they realized that something was wrong and went to inform Cin and the emperor. Shen Yueji was resting. When she heard the report, she sat up slightly and looked at the indifferent man beside her. Pang Yuan is Grand Tutor Pang's only daughter after all. If anything happens to her outside the palace, I'm afraid you won't be able to explain it to Grand Tutor Pang. Seeing her wake up, Mo Wushang frowned slightly and gently rubbed her head. Did I wake you up? Why did she suddenly disappear? Shen Yueji and Pang Yuan weren't very familiar, but through these few days of competition, she more or less understood her character. She knew that she wouldn't run around at this time. Besides, how could the life outside the palace compare to the luxurious life in the palace? Secondly, she didn't know how much she wanted to kill herself now. If something like that happened to her during the Lantern Festival, anyone would run away, but she, Pang Yuan, wouldn't. Ji Chu. Your Majesty. Send someone to find her. Yes. Your Majesty, Empress Dowager heard that Imperial Consort Pang disappeared and hasn't come back yet. She is very worried. At this time, Mother Zhu's worried voice came from outside. Shen Yueji lifted the curtain of the carriage. Sure enough, she saw Mother Zhu's worried face. Mother Zhu looked at her. Imperial Consort Pang is in the wrong, but she is Grand Tutor Pang's only daughter. I also hope that Your Majesty, I know. Mother Zhu, take Empress Dowager back to the palace first. I will order people to find Pang Yuan. Now that Imperial Consort Pang is missing, how can Empress Dowager return to the palace with peace of mind? Empress Dowager plans to order people to rest for a while. When Imperial Consort Pang is found, Empress Dowager plans to return to the palace. Seeing Xian's insistence, Mo Wushang didn't say anything more and nodded slightly. This time, they brought a lot of secret guards out of the palace. They quickly split up to look for her, from the inn of the Lantern Festival to the surroundings along the way. In the dense crowd, torches could be seen everywhere. Do you think the disappearance of Imperial Consort Pang has something to do with Shen Yueji? He looked at the embroidered uniform hidden guards who were searching everywhere. The concubines in the carriage couldn't help but whisper to each other again. Although they didn't really like Pang Yuan, the disappearance of an imperial concubine was not a small matter. To be able to disappear under the noses of the Emperor and Empress Dowager, how powerful was this person? Could it be that Imperial Consort Nyang Nyang was driven off the carriage by the Empress Dowager and was so angry that she went somewhere else to relieve her boredom? How is this possible? She wanted to get rid of the woman from the Foam Kingdom. Not to mention the Empress Dowager kicking her off the carriage, even if she was slapped in the carriage, she would not leave at this critical moment. What could be more important than getting rid of Shen Yueji? Actually, what she said was not without reason. As expected, after she said this, all the consorts fell into a short silence. That Imperial Consort Pang suddenly disappeared. Was she kidnapped? As soon as these words left his mouth, there was another period of silence. There was an 80 to 90% chance that it was a kidnapping, but they still couldn't believe it. After all, in the northern underworld, who didn't know Pang Yuan's identity? Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect it. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect it. Chapter 939. Her father was there, and Beiming was the imperial tutor. If they dared to kidnap Pang Yuan, wouldn't they be courting death? Even the women who had been harmed by Pang Yuan were afraid of Pang Yuan's identity. They didn't dare to speak up, nor did they dare to play tricks behind her back. It was enough to show that they were afraid of Pang Yuan to this extent. How would they dare to kidnap her? The only thing that could be explained was Shen Yueji. Women's suspicions were not random. If Shen Yueji is really that powerful, then Pang Yuan is no match for her at all. That's right. Although that woman is from the Foam Country and I don't know much about her, I still know a little. I heard that her father is a first-rank general of the Foam Country. He has millions of soldiers and half of the power of the Foam Country. So powerful. No wonder she is not afraid of Imperial Consort Pang at all. Even when Imperial Consort Pang made things difficult for her many times, she didn't suffer at Imperial Consort Pang's hands. It seems. Do you think Shen Yueji has a guilty conscience? Is what Imperial Consort Pang said true? I think so too. Otherwise, why would Imperial Consort Pang suddenly disappear tonight? It must have something to do with Shen Yueji. It can't be wrong. That's right. It seems that there will be a good show this time. We all think of that woman. How could the Empress Dowager and the Emperor not think of it? Imperial tutor Pang loves his daughter as much as his life. If he knows that Pang Yuan's disappearance has something to do with Shen Yueji, he will definitely ask the Emperor and the Empress Dowager for an explanation. The Emperor and the Empress Dowager are worried about Imperial tutor Pang. Shen Yueji will definitely fall out of favor. Falling out of favor is not that simple. If anything happens to Imperial Consort Pang, it will not be enough for Shen Yueji to fall out of favor. I'm afraid she will have to pay with her life. How do you know that this matter has something to do with Shen Yueji? Why don't you think that it's because Pang Yuan has offended too many people? Although those enemies don't dare to confront her directly or do anything to her, they might have already formed a gang behind her back, waiting for her to come out and die. In the face of Liu Qing's words, the incessant chatter suddenly stopped, and they just stared at Liu Qing for a long time. Little sister Qing you speak up for Shen Yueji again and again. What benefits did Shen Yueji give you? You should know that she almost caused you to lose favor with the Empress Dowager. Hui Fei also looked at her. Liu Qing was a person of few words, but she had a straightforward personality and dared to take responsibility for her actions. For example, the fact that the Xi'an Palace was able to confront Shen Yueji was within their expectations. But Hui Fei didn't expect that Liu Qing would change so much just because Shen Yueji spoke up for her. Qing Jiaoyi, I almost caused you to lose favor in front of the Empress Dowager. But you, just because of one sentence from me, you can forget about her. That's right, that's right. I thought you hated Shen Yueji in your heart. Who knew that you would actually speak up for her? Your dignity is truly worthless. Liu Qing's expression was unsightly. It was because they had led the topic to her and said that she wasn't the Empress Dowager. Liu Qing's face was green. She had endured the words along the way, but because of their complaints, she finally couldn't hold it in anymore. In the Imperial Harem, whenever something happens to a woman, you're more happy than anyone else. You can't wait for one more woman in the Imperial Harem to die. That way, you'll be happy and complacent. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect. Chapter 940. If it was in the past, she would never say these words to them. Among these people, there were some who were on good terms with her, and they often interacted with each other. In this harem, there was also a sisterhood that they had spent several years together. But today, outside Xi'an Palace, when she was scolded by Granny Zhu, what did they do? She found it funny. They just watched coldly. Previously, she had heard them talking about Shen Yueji, which made her think that the women from the Feng Nation were not good. Now, it seemed that it was not Shen Yueji who was bad, but she had been with them for a long time. She had almost forgotten that the scariest thing was the people around her. Stop the carriage! She suddenly shouted. The carriage stopped abruptly. When the women heard her shout for them to stop, they couldn't help but frown. Qing Jiaoyi, what are you doing? You have to have a limit. We are going back to the palace. What do you mean by shouting to stop the carriage? Imperial Consort Pang's whereabouts are unknown. The Empress Dowager dotes on Imperial Consort Pang so much. If we can't find Imperial Consort Pang, I'm afraid the Empress Dowager and the Emperor will not return to the palace. Liu Qing looked at them coldly and then got off the carriage without saying anything. Really, what does this woman mean? Exactly. She usually looks easy to get along with. Who knows what she's doing today? Sister Yu, don't be angry. You know how she is. Just ignore her, lest you get angry. Qin in the haze, someone called her. Shen Yueji woke up from her half-asleep state. Mo Wushang had already gotten off the carriage and went to the Empress Dowager. She was the only one left in the huge carriage. Hearing this familiar female voice, she was startled. Sure enough, in the next moment, a piece of clothing was draped over her body. She looked up and saw Liu Qingrou's gentle and clean face. Look at you, why are you still the same as before? You don't even put on a coat when you are asleep. Speaking of this, her eyes darkened. Doesn't that man love you a lot? You don't even do something so considerate. He covered me with a coat, but I took it away because I was too hot. Qingru, why are you here? If I hadn't come, you would never have thought of me, would you? Her sudden appearance tonight was a surprise to Shen Yueji. What was surprising was that when something happened to Pang Yuan tonight, she had suddenly appeared. This made it hard for her not to suspect that she was behind this. Lu Qingru looked her in the eye, and as if she could see something in her eyes, she smiled faintly. Qin it's me. She reached out, wanting to touch her face. However, Shin Yueji moved her head away slightly. Her hand hung in the air, but she didn't feel embarrassed at all. Even the smile on her face was still there. She had always been so tolerant towards the person she liked. On the contrary, Shin Yueji, who was throwing a tantrum, was very likable in her eyes. She found a place very close to Shin Yueji and sat down. Shin Yueji frowned slightly but didn't say anything. I'll let the right protector kill her. His words revealed the suspicions in her heart, but she didn't say them out loud. Shin Yueji was surprised and looked up at her. Now, I'm afraid that she has been tortured to the point that only a pile of minced meat is left. She bullied you so much. Actually, I should have killed her long ago. That way, she wouldn't have the chance to bully you. It's just that there are too many things to take care of in the Xianming sect recently. I just went back, so I need to take care of a lot of things. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect it. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect it. Chapter 941. Her hand slowly reached out to her and held her hand. Shin Yueji suddenly had a strange feeling in her heart. This feeling made her want to resist. She could see that she was struggling. Lu Qingru not only held her hand tightly, but a sharp light flashed across her eyes. Qin we haven't seen each other for only a few days. Have we become so distant already? In the end, Shin Yueji pulled her hand out of Lu Qingru's hand. She closed her eyes slightly and said in a disappointed voice, Qingru, I still remember and dare not forget how you helped me before. If there comes a day when you need my help, even if it's a mountain of knives or a sea of fire, I'm willing to go for you. Now, I have my own thoughts and ideas. You don't have to do these things for me anymore. Pang Yuan is no threat to me at all. On the contrary, she killed Pang Yuan just like that. It was obvious that she was splashing dirty water on her. And Feng Jiuqing, she also said that she would not hide it from her or lie to her anymore. But she still lied to her. Qin can't you see? The reason why I killed Pang Yuan was to take you away. The Dark North Palace is not suitable for you. I know that you have never liked the life in the palace. To you, the palace is like a cage. You should live outside. My Xianming sect doesn't have so many rules. If you want to travel the world, I'll accompany you. No matter where you go, I'll go with you. Qingru, I told you long ago that I treat you as a friend. You and I are both women, so it's impossible. Shin Yueji's face turned cold. Especially when she saw the woman's expectant and careful face that was filled with love. She felt inexplicably disgusted. Back then, when she was with her, she didn't know what she was thinking. She simply thought that she treated her as a friend, and she treated her the same way. That was because she never imagined that she would like her. If it wasn't for the current situation, she would have gotten off the carriage long ago. Now, just sitting in the same carriage with her and feeling the adoration in her eyes was full of great irony. She used to think that they were best friends. Qin you're rejecting me? How dare you reject me? In the past, you would never reject me. No matter what I said, you would listen and respond to me with a smile. Do you also feel disgusted that I like you? She climbed onto the woman's shoulders and questioned her sternly. Her face changed color. Tell me, is it wrong for me to like you? I've liked you for so many years, you can choose not to accept me, I can wait for you. But why did you accept others? Do you know how much my heart ached when I found out that you slept with that man? At that time, I couldn't wait to storm into the palace from the Xianming sect and snatch you back. Qin you're mine, you're mine. In this life, you can only be mine. I can't see you with another man. That man once hurt you so deeply, and even when you died, he was indifferent. Haven't you suffered enough because of Feng Jiuqing? Why do you want to try it on another man? Qin why can't you understand? In this world, I'm the only one who treats you sincerely. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect it. Explosively cute pet concubine, Prince Regent, please collect it. Chapter 942. The reason why I'm willing to stay in Foam Country is also because of you. I hate men so much, but I still have affairs with so many men, and it's also because of you. I hate Foam Joching so much that I want to eat his flesh and drink his blood, but in the end, I still slept with him because of you. Shin. You can't be so heartless to me, do you know that? You can't be so heartless to me. Blue veins appeared on her forehead because of her forbearance. Shin Yueji closed her eyes and used all her strength to push her away. Lu Qingru, what else do you want? I've already said it clearly enough, I can only be friends with you, and definitely can't take it any further. I'm a normal person, do you understand? Normal? Lu Qingru staggered a step back and looked at her while murmuring. Suddenly, she laughed. Normal? Shin do you think that I'm not a normal woman? If Shin Yueji could predict everything, the only thing she couldn't predict was Lu Qingru. Do you think that man will still be on your side? Grand Tutor Pang is a great loyal minister of the Northern Underworld, and Pang Yuan's disappearance, almost everyone will point the spearhead to you. Do you think that Mo Wushang can still protect you? Or do you really think that he can disregard everything for you, even the empire of the Northern Underworld, for you? Don't be silly, Shin don't you know? In a man's heart, women are like clothes, they only care about their own empire. Feng Joching is like this, and so is he. You've suffered enough at Feng Joching's hands. How trustworthy can a man's oath of undying love be? Shin Yueji closed her eyes slightly. Leave, no matter what you say, I won't leave with you. What if he? Who? Feng Joching, didn't you meet him? Lu Qingru smiled coldly and looked at her with a pale face, full of sarcasm. Didn't he tell you that he doesn't have much time left? What did you say? Shin Yueji suddenly turned her head to look at her. The resurrection parasite is a forbidden item of our Xianming sect. The user can split a person's body and soul into two. Aren't all of you curious about how Feng Joching appeared here when he was seriously injured and unconscious? Shin Yueji's face was filled with shock as she stared at her in disbelief. Then, the Feng Joching who came to look for her today was the one who had been with her day and night, the one who had pledged undying love to her. He didn't lie to me. In fact, Shin Yueji had always thought that he was lying to her. Perhaps this was another trick of his, because she did not see his scarlet eyes. Shin speaking of which, I quite admire him. He originally had a very long lifespan, but he ended up sacrificing so much of his lifespan for you. 3 months. There were only 3 months left before he would completely disappear from this world. You know the truth of what happened back then. You know that the person who betrayed you back then was not him. You also know his difficulties. Are you going to watch him die without doing anything? Why? Why would it be like this? This time, Shin Yueji could no longer maintain her composure. It was clearly Feng Joching who told her that he would take her away to a place that they would never find. In this lifetime, he would never leave her again. He said so, he did not say at all. He did not say that he only had 3 months left to live. Read the latest chapter of Exploding Cute Pet Concubine, The Regent, Messing with the Body Claw book house for free. Chapter 943. Not at all, Shin do you feel sorry for him? Back then, you loved him so much that you were even willing to die for him. I've been by your side for so long, and I've witnessed your love for him with my own eyes. I've seen it all along the way. Mo Wushang is good to you, but Feng Joching is the man you've loved for so many years, isn't he? Come with me, even if you don't want to go with me, you have to think about that man. He'll be gone in 3 months. He's done so much for you. Is your heart really that hard? If it was in the past, Lu Qingru would never say these things to her. To her, Feng Joching's life or death was not worth mentioning. She naturally hoped that he was dead. As long as he was dead, Shin would belong to her completely. Not only that, she hoped that Mo Wushang would die. After returning to the North Sea and knowing about her and Mo Wushang, she didn't hate Feng Joching as much. Because she knew that there would no longer be anything between her Shin and that man. Feng Joching had already become her past. Even if he had his own difficulties back then, it didn't matter anymore. As he wished, he saw a flash of pain on Shin Yueji's face. Shin in your heart, You still care about Feng Jiuqing, don't you? Don't lie to yourself anymore. Come with me and accompany him for the last 3 months. Okay. Why are you telling me this? Lu Qingru, do you really want me to go with you? Xin don't force me. I don't want to hurt you. Why do you always force me? Lu Qingru clenched her fists and stared at her fiercely. Why don't you listen? I don't want to hurt you, I really don't. I just want to protect you. You just need to stay by my side obediently. You don't need to do anything. Let me love you, I'll settle everything for you. Before she could finish her sentence, she was slapped hard on the face. Lu Qingru covered her face and looked at her. She suddenly laughed. You hit me. Do you know? This is the first time you've hit me since we've known each other for so long. Enough. Enough. How is that possible? Lu Qingru's eyes reddened as she gripped her shoulders tightly, not allowing her to struggle in the slightest. Qin no matter what you think in your heart, I will let you see my heart clearly. Rather than going along with you and letting you do as you please, why should I care so much about it? I'll just snatch you over and imprison you by my side. Qin you must remember that you forced me to do all of this. If you had been obedient from the beginning and followed me back to the Xianming sect, none of this would have happened. Lu Qingru, what I owe you, I will never be able to repay you in this lifetime, but if you want me to accept you, don't even think about it in this lifetime. Unless I die. Qin you're really naive. How could I bear to let you die? Even if I kill everyone in the world, I won't let them harm a single hair on your head. If you are not obedient, I can only make a move on the people around you. Those people from the Shun family, I think you will not ignore their life and death, right? Her heart clenched fiercely. Shun Yueji had long been on guard against her. The Shun family was her weakness, and they had sacrificed so much for her. How could she let them suffer any harm because of her? She had promised them that as long as she was here, she would let the Shun family live a worry-free life. Read the latest chapter of Exploding Cute Pet Concubine, The Regent, Provoking the Body Claw book house for free. Chapter 944. Lu Qingru, don't force me. You're the one who's forcing me. Why didn't you wait for me? Do you know? Do you know that when I found out that you and Mo Wushang were in the same room, I wanted to die? Do you know that I was so angry that I vomited blood and almost died? Qin do you know how much I love you? What did you do to the Shun family? Nothing much. It was just that when the Shun family was on their way to the northern underworld, I kidnapped them. Coincidentally, a man who liked you appeared out of nowhere and made me very displeased with him, so I broke one of his arms. What did you say? Her breathing seemed to stop at that moment. Shangguan Yu. Almost instantly, this man's name appeared in Shun Yueji's heart. He came together with the Shun family. If Lu Qingru cared about her opinion and did not kill the Shun family, then Shangguan Yu, she suddenly stepped forward and grabbed the woman's collar with one hand. What did you do to Shangguan Yu? A mere Shangguan Yu, such an insignificant man who isn't even worth mentioning, can make you so nervous. Lu Qingru wanted to laugh at herself. You care so much for others, why are you so heartless to me? Holding Shun Yueji's hand, Lu Qingru's palm trembled. Didn't I say it just now? I cut off one of his arms. If you don't listen, I'll cut off his head. You dare. Qin I don't want to make you sad. As long as you're willing to follow me obediently, I'll let them go and chase them far away. From today onwards, you only need to promise me that you won't have any dealings with them and I won't cause any trouble for them. Is that okay? Lu Qingru, you keep saying that you're doing this for my own good, but in the end, you hid it from me, harmed my family, and used the lives of my family and friends to threaten me. Is this what you mean by doing this for my own good? At least, from the beginning to the end, the only person he wanted to kill was me. He is not like you, full of schemes, vicious to force me to submit, and hurt the people around me. Shun Yueji's eyes were red, and she looked at her with a smile. If I had known that the friend I thought I was infallible and made would have such filthy and disgusting thoughts about me, I would rather not know you in this life. Qin she suddenly pulled out the hairpin from her bun. Lu Qingru jumped in fright, and her voice was heavily trembling. Qin put down the hairpin, don't act recklessly. I won't allow you to mess around. Think about those people from the Shun family. If you dare to harm yourself, I will definitely make them die without a complete corpse. Lu Qingru, let them go. As long as you let them go, I promise to go with you. If you dare to harm even a strand of their hair, do you believe that I will die in front of you right now? The first part of her words made Lu Qingru full of joy, but Shin Yueji's words made her quickly put on a serious face, and she nodded hurriedly. Okay, Qin put down the hairpin. I will let the left protector let them go. My Shenming sect has the best doctor, don't worry. Although Shangguan Yu lost an arm, he will not die. I will let the doctor bandage his wound, don't worry. Be good, put down the hairpin. After listening to her promise, Shin Yueji slowly put down the hairpin. Read the latest chapter of Exploding Cute Pet Concubine, Prince Regent, Provoking Clawbook House for free. Chapter 945. Seeing this, Lu Qingru was overjoyed. She quickly stepped forward and hugged her. Shin don't scare me anymore. I've already lost you once, I can't lose you a second time. Don't scare me anymore, okay? Okay, as long as you're willing to go with me, I'll definitely treat you well. In this life, I won't allow anyone to hurt you. Shin Yueji's body stiffened as she was held in her arms. Lu Qingru's hug was like a warm gaze to her in the past. She was the only light in the darkness. But now, it was no longer a simple hug. It was like a beast from a bottomless abyss, devouring her until there was nothing left. Originally, she thought that after her rebirth, she would never be threatened or coerced again. But for the Shun couple, she could only choose to compromise. She knew that if she did not promise Lu Qingru, she would be given the Shun couple's corpses. Xianming sect, an evil sect that could compete with the three great countries. She did not doubt the truth of Lu Qingru's words at all. Double happiness brought something up. When she saw Lu Qingru, she was stunned for a moment. Lu Qingru's gaze fell on Shin Yueji. She did not look at her at all. Go down first. I have something to say to Double Happiness alone. Okay, if Shin'er has anything to say, just tell her. I'll wait for you downstairs. Miss. Double Happiness was suspicious. She vaguely felt that something was wrong, but she did not know what was wrong. She could only look at Shin Yueji with a puzzled expression. Until Lu Qingru went down. Only then did she look at Shin Yueji. Miss? What's wrong? Why is Concubine Ru here? And the way she looked at Miss just now, it was like a man looking at a woman he liked. It made her feel inexplicably, she could not describe that feeling. Because Lu Qingru was a woman, she did not think in that direction. Lu Qingru kidnapped father and mother. What? Double Happiness was shocked. No wonder the general and madam's letter came so early. But they had not met Miss yet. So it was because, not only that, she also broke Shangguan Yu's arm. Compared to Lu Qingru kidnapping the general and madam, what shocked Double Happiness even more was that she had actually cut off young Master Shangguan's arm. Young Master Shangguan doesn't have any enemies. He's a kind person and has never offended anyone. Even if Lu Qingru had stayed in the Feng Nation for a period of time, but young Master Shangguan and Lu Qingru didn't have any interactions. Why would she treat young Master Shangguan like this, and even kidnap the general and his wife? Miss. She looked at Shin Yueji in confusion. Shin Yueji shook her head. Don't ask anymore. I'll go with her. Miss. Where are you going? Go with Lu Qingru? This servant doesn't even know what happened. Before young Miss came to the northern underworld, Madam and the general repeatedly told me to look after young Miss and not allow anything to happen to young Miss. Even if Miss has her own difficulties and isn't willing to tell this servant, but Miss, aren't you going to tell the son-in-law? The son-in-law is the emperor of the northern underworld. He will definitely have a way. Also, Miss, where are you going with Lu Qingru? She has already kidnapped the general and the madam. If you want to leave with her, Miss, please take this servant with you. At least take this servant with you. This servant will know your movements, Miss. Baidu read the latest chapter of Exploding Cute Pet Concubine, the Prince Regent, Messing with the Body Clawbook House for free. Chapter 946. You will be in danger if you follow me. Right now, I can't even guarantee the safety of father and mother, let alone you. Double happiness, you stay. No, miss, have you forgotten what you promised this servant before? You said that no matter where you go, you will let me follow you. Miss, is that Lu Qingru good or bad? She was so good to you before, but when you were poisoned, she was more worried and nervous than anyone else, as if the person who was poisoned was herself. She didn't know how she became like this. Shin Yueji shook her head. She didn't know how to explain it to Double Happiness. Just thinking about it in her mind made her feel disgusted, let alone saying it in front of Double Happiness. But according to Double Happiness's character, she also knew that if she didn't give her an explanation, she would definitely not let her leave with Lu Qingru. In this world, people are different. For example, I treat Lu Qingru as my friend, but she didn't finish the rest of her words. No need to ask any more, this matter ends here. Double Happiness, no matter what, I will not take you away. She is no longer the Lu Qingru of the past. Xianming sect is an evil sect in the pugilistic world. They are ruthless and have countless cruel methods. I can't let you take the risk. Although Shin Yueji didn't finish her words, Double Happiness was a smart person after all. She quickly guessed what she didn't say. At first, she also felt that Lu Qingru's feelings for her miss was strange, but as a servant, she didn't dare to ask. Especially since both of them were women. She only thought that Lu Qingru was good to her miss because they grew up together, but she didn't think, miss, if that's really the case, then this servant really can't let you go like this. That pervert Lu Qingru, who knows what she will do to you? No, miss, this servant has to follow you. No matter where you go, this servant has to follow you. Stay in the palace, I need you to help me refute the rumors. Shin Yueji looked at her, Lu Qingru is determined to take me away. When the time comes, once Pang Yuan's corpse is discovered by them and I disappear at this time, all the spearheads will be pointed at me. If I disappear because of this, and you disappear with me, even 100 mouths won't be able to explain it clearly. I need you to stay. This is also good for Mo Wushang, he will no longer have to face the mouths of those ministers alone. And you, with you by his side, you are the maid I brought from the Feng nation. You have the same status as me, and you play an important role in the northern underworld. As long as you are here, at least when Mo Wushang faces them, he will have something to say, and he will no longer be alone and helpless. But miss, this servant is worried about you. Shuangxi knew that no matter what miss did, she would always have a backup plan. She also knew that at this time, the young miss must have her own thoughts. The so-called following Lu Qingru was only a temporary plan. Shin Yueji gently stroked her hair, Shuangxi, what should come will come sooner or later. It's not that I can rest easy just because the Jiyu family is dead. The Xianming sect, Shangguan Mai, and many more people. Looking at Shuangxi, Shin Yueji pursed her lips, my life and death have long been out of my consideration. Now, the only thing I don't want is for those who sincerely treat me well to be implicated by me. Chapter 947. Lu Qingru is right. When I found out that Feng Zhouqing doesn't have much time left, I felt very sad. I thought I had let go of everything, but in the end, my heart still hurts. She knew that her feelings for Feng Zhouqing were no longer love. This love had long disappeared with her death. She was just not reconciled. She was not reconciled to the fact that the two of them loved each other deeply. In the end, fate made a fool out of them and they were destined to never be together. Qina, we should go. Otherwise, they will notice the commotion here. All the secret guards in the palace went to search for Pang Yuan. Basically, there were only a few people left here. Even Mo Wushang's personal bodyguards were sent to search for Pang Yuan without her permission. This time, Shuangxi's gaze towards Lu Qingru was filled with hostility. When she saw the young mistress getting up and walking towards her, she blocked her way and glared fiercely at Lu Qingru. Even if you are the saintess of the Xianming sect, I'm warning you, I'm not afraid of you. You better not do anything to my miss otherwise, I will not let you off easily. Even Mo Wushang and Lu Qingru were not in her eyes. She was just a servant of Shin Yueji. Her affectionate and loving gaze fell on Shen Yueji, never moving away. In this world, only I will not hurt Qin. I will treat her well. If it had been a man, perhaps double happiness would have been moved for a while. However, the one who said this was a woman. Moreover, it was a woman who held the general and his wife hostage and forced the young miss to submit. She didn't know how disgusted she was, let alone the young miss. Let's go. I did not bring many people. When they return, I will not be able to take you away. Before leaving, Shen Yueji looked at double happiness behind her. You have been with me for a long time. I think you know how to deal with things. My disappearance will definitely attract the suspicion of others. You just need to calm down and don't panic. Mo Wushang will also protect you. Do you understand? Miss, double happiness looked at her with heartache. Miss was pitiful enough in the past. She thought that after following the general and master, Madam would treat Miss well. But unexpectedly, Qin, who she hated the most, looked at others so gently, but when she looked at her, she was so cold. This was something that had never happened before. Lu Qingru stepped forward and grabbed her hand. Qin, we should go. Shen Yueji shook off her hand in disgust. I can walk by myself. It was a narrow carriage that could only fit 2 people. The coffee table was filled with all kinds of jewelry and food. Although the jewelry was small, each one of them was priceless. Just by looking at the workmanship, it was obvious that they were not cheap. The moment they got on the carriage, Lu Qingru pushed all the things on the table towards her with a smile on her face. Qin, quickly take a look. These are all the treasures of my Xianming cult. I know that you don't really like gold and silver jewelry. These things are small and exquisite, and the workmanship is superb and perfect. It's different from ordinary jewelry. Moreover, it will definitely look good on you. The mysterious dark church has a lot of jewelry like this. If you like it, these things will belong to you in the future. I'll keep them all for you. What do you think? No matter how good the jewelry is, it's still an inanimate object. Lu Qingru, you are a woman. You are not destined to become a man. These jewelry are used by men to please women. You don't have to spend so much effort to please me. You may not have this understanding, but I do. Read the latest chapter of Exploding Cute Pet Concubine, Prince Regent, Provoking Clawbook House for free. Chapter 948. Lu Qingru was not angry at all, even though Shen Yueji made it very clear and left her no way out. There was no anger on her face. Instead, she said to her with tolerance and happiness, looks like Qin doesn't like it. It's fine. When you come back to Xianming sect with me, no matter what you like, as long as it's something you like, I will definitely ask them to find it for you. She felt that it was ridiculous, so Shen Yueji flipped all the jewelry on the table in front of her. The jewelry fell all over the ground, and there were even some on the ground. Many of the jewelry spilled outside and out of the carriage. The driver outside saw the jewelry spilled and called out worriedly, Saintus? Focus on your carriage. Qin is throwing a tantrum with me. After she finished speaking, she turned around. She was like a newlywed, infinitely tolerant and indulgent towards the woman he liked. She bent down to pick up the jewelry that fell on the ground and put it aside. Qin didn't like it. She had also lost her patience with these expensive and rare jewelry. Since Qin doesn't like these jewelry and hasn't eaten anything for a day, these are your favorite dishes and snacks in Foam Country. Try them and see if they taste the same as the ones in Foam Country. I brought those chefs from Foam Country. If they don't taste good, I will ask them to make them again. Of course, if they don't suit your taste, I can get new chefs. What about those chefs from before? If they can't make the dishes I like, are you going to kill them all? Seeing that her thoughts were exposed, Lu Qingru smiled. Qin, you really do understand me. If the dishes they make are not to your taste, why would I keep them? Xianming sect never keeps men, let alone those who eat for nothing and have no skills. If you were an emperor, you would definitely be a tyrant. For you, I am willing to be a tyrant. Unfortunately, if you were a man, I might be tempted. But you are a woman. Qin, one day, you will know that in your eyes, Men and women are the same. What men can give you, I can give you. What men can't give you, I can also give you. Lightly caressing her face, Lu Qingru faintly smiled. I believe that day is not far away. I'm going to return to the inn to see Feng Jiuqing. Sure. You agreed so quickly? To be honest, Shen Yueji was quite surprised to hear her agree so quickly. Lu Qingru smiled gently. He's just a man who's about to die. Moreover, Qin he's already long gone from your heart, so why would I bother with someone who's about to die? Conversely, I have to thank him. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid you, Qin wouldn't have been willing to leave with me. Release the Shen family. That's impossible. Why? Qin I'm not a fool. The reason you're willing to follow me back to the mysterious dark sect obediently is because I'm holding them hostage and you have no other choice. If even this final trump card of mine were to listen to you and release them, would you still obediently return to the mysterious dark sect with me? Didn't you say that you trust me the most? No matter what I say, you will believe it. But now. Baidu. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.